Rich Herrera, you magnificent guy. I read your book. So here's what's on my mind. Yes. I have been really mind blown by the number of speeches given in the 250th anniversary of the United States at the General Assembly, talking about just how terrible this country was and how flawed, which we are, because we're inhabited by humans who are flawed inherently, et cetera, and the lack of speeches decrying the greatness that is America. And I'm thinking about it, and then I started contemplating Lee Greenwood, who, to my knowledge, has but one hit song, I'm Proud to Be an American,
right?
And has probably made a pretty healthy living over the course of the last 40 years off of one song. And then I asked myself, in the wake of Pride Month, am I proud to be an American? And I came up with the following. I am, in fact, not proud to be an American, because I think pride should emanate from something that you yourself have accomplished or done that is noteworthy or exceptional. I am, however, incredibly, inarticulably grateful to have been blessed to have been born in America, right? So I was given a compliment the other day by somebody that I didn't earn. They said I'd been an Army Ranger. I was not. And I corrected them and said, I can't take credit for accomplishments that weren't my own, but I am proud, grateful to have had the opportunity to serve alongside many of them in my capacities in military service. And so I'm not really proud to be an American, and I don't think you should be. But I think every one of us who is properly calibrated should be amazingly grateful to be amongst the 1 in 26 fortunate enough to slip from the womb in this, the greatest experiment in freedom ever established on earth, right? I am grateful to be an American. I am so blessed and so fortunate. And I think that the left's ideology, and this is really on full display in Virginia, not just in the Mamdani land, the left's entire sort of platform is built on envy and jealousy and rage and the desire to entrust flawed, failed humans to make everything just right for you, because everything that's wrong in your life is someone else's fault somehow. And if only this guy didn't have that and that guy didn't have the other, and they gave a little bit more of this, that you might be happy. Your happiness starts, I think, from recognizing when you mistake, I've made plenty, and then correcting, and then doing the best you can to control that which you've been tasked with controlling. And I have not been tasked with controlling others. I've been tasked with controlling me and given a responsibility and a duty to care for those in a locus that emanates outward from me. So I'm not proud to be an American. I'm incredibly grateful to be an American. I think this country would be even better if there were more people who were grateful for the blessings lavished upon them, which they did not earn.
Interesting.
I'm done. I'll talk to you next week.
All right, thanks. That's Tom. That's Tom joining us now. Okay, I'll have a friendly disagreement with you. So I remember George Bush. I think as Dana Perino would say this. George Bush used to talk about people that are born in America won the greatest lottery, and we should be grateful that we were born, or that someone had, and in my case, I think of my grandfathers, that had the foresight and the courage to come to this country to make a better way of life for themselves. So I look at all of this and go, I'm so grateful that my grandfather jumped in a boat to go to Hawaii to work in an pineapple plantation, to make enough money to come here to the States. And he went and worked in a fish camp and settled in as a cowboy. Nowhere else in the world could something like that happen, where the grandson of migrant farm workers has met the president and has been to the White House. That doesn't happen anywhere else in the world. So I'm very grateful, but I'm also proud to be here because I think it's our responsibility to keep this grand experiment going. And I think it's our responsibility in whichever way that you can to contribute to the success and the health of this great American experiment, whether it's showing up to vote, whether it's getting involved, whether it's being involved in your community. I think we all have a responsibility. So I'll hearken back to what Kennedy said. That's not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country.
Sure, Herrera. And usually when you disagree with me, I go, he's going to tell me why I'm wrong. But you're wrong. You, man.
It's not you, it's me.
Well, no. Look, I mean, one of the best things I ever learned is to accept and acknowledge when I was wrong, because then I can do it better, right? I can learn from
Correct.
that. But pride is one of the 7 deadly sins. Pride, in my own personal life, pride has been a stumbling block where
hubris is an awful thing.
Sure. and so I think we've perverted the meaning of the word pride, right? Like we're saying the same thing,
right?
But gratitude is what
Is a
drives
great word.
me to want
Yeah.
to perpetuate the gifts of America, right? Because I didn't earn this, right? We could make this a theological conversation. Because I didn't do anything worthy of being born in a place better than some of the wonderful friends I have in places like Iraqi Kurdistan, and Syria. Because I didn't do anything special to not have to live as a prisoner for 2 years, like Hassan Abdur Rahim, a pastor who I was able to snatch out of Sudan. Then I owe, out of gratitude for my great fortune, a duty to perpetuate these things. So, but again, I think we're on the same page. Like,
do we owe something? Hold on a second. Do we owe something to this wonderful gift we've been given them?
I think so. I do. I think so. I think it's the parable of the talents. To whom much has been given, from whom much is expected, right? So the reason that I'm 8 years sober, May 24th, right?
Congratulations.
And my middle daughter says, why are you running for office again? Why do you want to be in the House of Delegates? You were in Congress, yada, yada, yada. She said, I think you're trying to prove something. I said, I think I am, to me and to my creator. I had this great fear that I would stand before the final accountant and he would say, what did you do with what I gave you? And I go, look at all these titles I earned. Look at these accolades I had. And he'd say, you did nothing, because I never did it the best I could. He gave me a bunch of stuff and I was able to go to Congress and all that, but sort of mailing it in a lot of the time because I was hungover or whatever. And a lot of that was this self-important pride, where I'm like, look what I've done, right? I've rationalized my poor behavior and decisions by virtue of the fact that I kept succeeding. And so when I could get rid of all of that and understand that a bunch of good stuff was dropped in my lap, and then go, okay, what's my duty now? And my duty is to try to make sure that young people in the future, whose names I'll never know, who have good stuff dropped in their lap, have the opportunity, the freedom to succeed or fail based on their own hard work and efforts, right? So I got given gifts, but God, my creator, the giver, expects me to do something with them. And so too, the birthright of American citizenship, I think, is, hey, you got all this. What are you going to do with it?
Okay,
so that's it. Right?
So we're, by the way, we're not going to get to the budget. We can do that another time, because I think this is important to talk about as we get ready.
The budget will still sting next week.
This is important as we get close to July 4th. On the flip side of that, I look at people that are self-loathing and hate this country, and I try to wrap my arms. Tom, you know me fairly well. I've got more empathy than most, and I still cannot put myself in their shoes to understand how they loathe this wonderful country of ours.
Well, there's this sense of entitlement, right? And I think social media, again, please visit Delegate Tom Garrett on Facebook, or Tom Garrett in Exile on X, or Tom Garrett JR on Twitter. But I think social media has created this covet machine, right, where we can never have enough. Like the guy that posts his awesome vacation pics, and I love vacation pics.
Right.
His whole vacation also consisted of a bee sting, food poisoning, and a 3-hour delay at the stopover, right? I mean, we only hear about that, which is good. So again, you focus internally on the external. What can I do? What do I have control over? Bad things will happen, right? But you can't control those except where you can. And again, for me, in faith and sobriety, it became like, God gave me a bunch of stuff. What the heck am I doing with it? And what my neighbor has is immaterial.
Well, and
but
that's
the loathing of America, et cetera, is based on how come they have this and I don't? How come it's harder to be a black kid from Gilpin Court than it is to be, a white kid in deeper in high school? I don't know. It's not fair, but you are where you are. Now, what are you going to do with it?
But see, the thing is, life's not fair.
That kid in Gilpin Court still has, right. And
life's not fair, and that's okay. As long as the second you accept that,
is the greatest gift.
The second you accept that, listen, I have no business being here. Honestly, I have no business being here doing what I'm doing, other than God gave me an opportunity and I worked my tail off to get here. But I have no business being here. I have no business having any of achieving anything unless God gave me that opportunity and I made the most of that opportunity. And that's where I see a lot of these people that are self-loathing. They've gotten every opportunity in the world. Some had more opportunity than others, but what you do with it is what's going to define you and make you successful or not. And if you don't want to take advantage of the small opportunity you have, like I did, or the great opportunity that you were lucky enough to be born into a family with lots of connections, Doesn't matter. We still have to use that opportunity, whatever we've been given, small, little or none, and make the most of it.
What do you owe your granddad for having the chutzpah to get up and move to Hawaii to work on a pineapple plant? What do you, right? I mean, and I, but that's awesome. Whereas if I can make this all Elon Musk's fault or white people's fault or whatever, then I'm now absolved, at least on the surface, of having to take responsibility for the circumstances for which I do have control. Right? It's easier to make it somebody else's fault and remove the accountability. The problem is that in their zeal and their lust to destroy the greatest experiment in freedom ever established on the planet Earth, I don't think they've successfully contemplated what comes next. Because the replacement options always end with the 1%,
it's their
the
fault.
supreme leadership having a dacha on the Black Sea and you starving to death because there was no potato harvest this year. This has all been done before.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I got 30 seconds. What are you doing for the 4th?
There might be a parade or two. I like to blow stuff up, so we may or may not sneak some illegal fireworks into Virginia. If you hear explosions coming from the area of North Buckingham County, don't worry. I probably still have all my fingers. What about you, Rich? What are you doing?
We got invited by the White House to the Washington Monument to be there for their viewing party right there. And there's going to be some big speeches right there. We're going to be sitting in the VIP section right there at the stage.
I'll be safer in Buckingham County with illegal fireworks than you will be at the Washington Monument because of the crazy people about whom we've been speaking who hate and wish to destroy.
Dave, I'm going to be late here. Sorry. I remember the bicentennial. I've told this story before.
One of
the reasons I wanted to move here is I missed out on the Freedom Train. Freedom Train came to California, and I begged my dad to go, and he couldn't take me because of work. I never cried so much in my life. 50 years later, I'm taking my son Rigney tomorrow to the Great State Fairs, and then I'm taking him to the Washington Monument. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm not telling you not to go. We live in a strange world. Like, you can't live in fear of death. I'm headed to the Middle East before too long. We'll talk more about that later. But you got to go do what you think you're supposed to be doing. But man, do we live in a strange world?
Oh, it is a strange world right now, and you and I are part of it. All right, hey, I'll talk to you before then, but I just want to wish you, your family, all your constituents, and everyone else a very happy 4th of July. We're very grateful.
For the record, Dave, it's totally Rich's fault we went over.
Oh yeah, he's giving me glares right now.
It's always Rich's fault.
It's always my fault. Shut up and talk. Right. All right. Thank you so much. Guys. Happy 4th of July. Love you too. God bless you.
Happy 4th.
Something to think about this morning here on Richmond's Morning News. Okay, real quick. Let me remind you the program today is brought to you apart by our friends at A+ Windows. So A+ Windows, listen, they're not going to stand there, twist your arm. I've actually been on calls with Billy Kane. He walks in, he looks, he's only going to be in your house 10 minutes.